Shell, I'm buying Steelers at the moment, especially the passing game, because there's going to be a coordinator change. I mean, to cut to the chase, the coordinator change is massive for me. Now, do they have a quarterback? I don't know the answer to that, but I guarantee life on their quarterbacks will be easier without Matt Canada. And I had to double check this while you were doing a live read because I knew it's insanely low. But over the last 2 regular seasons combined, the Steelers have only thrown 25 touchdown passes. I mean, 25 over 34 games. It's going to go up, and it's going to go to Pickens. It's going to go to Freiermuth. And I can tell you the whole life and history of George Pickens, and I don't know that I trust him. There's certainly volatility there. But I also will tell you I'm a little jaded because I've watched every OTA, every mini camp practice, and every training camp practice live that he's ever been a part of. And he's jaw-dropping, and you want him on your team. I mean, because there's a lot there.
Okay.
There is so much there. And
yeah,
from an every down perspective, the concerns that maybe he's not going to be an every down guy. Obviously, consistency has sort of been, I think, the thing that fantasy managers are kind of lacking from George Pickens. To put it as Mike Tomlin does, to do routine things routinely. That's not George Pickens' game, which I think is what concerns me. Now, finished this year as the wide receiver 33 in fantasy points per game, which is kind of a jaw-dropping number, especially considering the really successful season that he had. Just generally from a statistical standpoint, it seems like it would have translated. He had, over 1,100 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, average 18.1 yards per reception. You would think that should translate to more fantasy production than it did. But, you look at the inconsistency of quarterback, you look at the problems at offensive coordinator. Obviously, all of these things they are not static. These are, evolving aspects of the Pittsburgh Steelers passing game. Do you have any concern, though? Obviously, George Pickens, very young. He is 22 years old, which I think, we talk about maturity concerns for George Pickens, and I think we forget he is literally 22 years old. Despite the fact that he has been in the league 2 years, he is an infant. He is a very, very young kid. And I think he's still learning how to lose. He came from Georgia. This kid's learning how to lose in real time. And we're watching a 22-year-old unfold in that way. Are there any concerns that the Steelers aren't going to have the patience to deal with these immaturity issues and they're going to wipe hands? I know there's been talk, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. Is there a chance they move one of these wide receivers in the offseason? And could that impact the fantasy value of George Pickens?
So a lot there to unpack. And you mentioned the inconsistencies. I just did a stat recap for Steelers.com and I just have these handy that Pickens in 4 of his games, he had 125 receiving yards or more. Everyone remembers those games. But he had 9 of them with 50 receiving yards or less. The up and down nature is insane. So I don't think they have any plans to move on. And frankly, in terms of high maintenance receivers, these guys pale in comparison to Antonio Brown and some of the others that have been here, but especially Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant. This is a Tomlin specialty. Give me the super talented receiver around later than he should be. I'll manage him. I'll get him to game day, and we'll figure it out from there. Pickens, I don't think he's a bad guy at all. I think he's extremely competitive. He's used to winning. He's used to being the best. He gets to the campus at Georgia, and everyone's like, you're the next A.J. Green, and he looks like it. And then if you remember, his last year there, he only ran 30 or 40 routes because he had that knee injury. So he comes to the Steelers after hardly playing his last year at Georgia. They win the national title, of course, no big deal. And leads the league in go routes as a rookie with the Steelers. Matt Canada just runs him down the sideline over and over and over and over and over. He's just doing wind sprints out there, which is very easy to defend if you know it's coming time and time again. This year, his route tree started to develop more. You saw more in-breaking routes. hit him on a slant, he takes it to the house, so it got better. But all I can think about is with a real coordinator with in-breaking routes, they're going to make him the feature receiver, and Tomlin will manage him.
So I've been buying a lot of George Pickens as well this offseason.